Thanks for checking out Hoops Hitting Gems podcast tonight. We got another great show as usual, episode number 20. Thank you guys for sticking with me for this far since last November. Starting off tonight's show, we got Deshawn Daniels from USC Salt JUCO. He's going to be making his college announcement tonight. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Doing really good.
Hey, man, so before we even get into your whole announcement, tell me about this long road that you had getting into USC Salk and leading into your announcement tonight. Tell me how it was this whole season.
This whole season was it was really good. At first it was a lot of adversity, but me being a leader on the team, I led a lot of young guys and be like, hey, it's gonna happen in life. Not just on the court but off the court too. So either way, you have to fight through it because our coach preached to us every day at practice, find a way, and we found a way every day. We lost in the Final Four this year, but we had a good season with a lot of young guys.
Good. That's good to hear. I also hear you were definitely on the academic side. You did very well.
Oh yes, sir. 4.0.
Congratulations, man. That's what I like to hear. So that makes you even better prospect when you go into school and you got grades as well as athletic ability. So, man, I definitely hats off to you on that. So, going to Salt, what made you go to Salt, man?
Well, because I'll say just for me to be focused, just for me to be locked in more, and also I had a great relationship with Coach Mayo, Coach Gill, and also Coach Gumbos. That was pretty much it.
Okay, good, man, good. So we're at that point now, man. I know you've been waiting for this. I know your moms and your whole family's been waiting for this, man. Tell me about the final three that you chose before you make a decision.
My first one, well, my first visit was Davenport University. I like the campus. It was located close to home. I like the coaching staff, and also just the way how they approached me of me being a basketball player and what I want to do in that system, and just in life in general.
Okay. And what was the next option?
Second one was Saginaw Valley State. They were the same way, but their campus and their facilities were really nice. It looked like a D1 facility. Okay. And I was pretty amazed about that because it was a D2, like it was a Division II school. So,
you know what, man, I'm glad you said that. Just to touch on that real quick, and now you're co-signing on what we talk about a lot of times. You said the facilities were on par with D1s, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what was the third option?
Shaw University.
Shaw University, okay, down in North Carolina, the CIAA. What did you think about Shaw?
I love it. It's HBCU. I hear a lot of great things about HBCUs. I just want to be in that type of experience.
Okay. So now it's time for the drama, man. Where you want to go for the next 2 years of your life, man?
I will be attending Shaw University.
Okay, congratulations, brother. Definitely congratulations.
Thank
what
you.
made you choose Shaw over those other two great choices?
Just the coaching staff. Like I'd had a great connection with them, just off the rip, and also said it's an HBCU school. Also, I think just better connection just for me, not only on the court but off the court too.
Good. Okay. Definitely congratulations to Coach Bazemore. We've had him on the show earlier this year, so definitely congratulations to him and the staff. You're definitely getting a player. How's mom feel about you going to Shaw?
Oh man, she's really excited.
Okay.
She's happy.
Okay. I'm sure she'll be down there, and I go to North Carolina all the time, so I'm gonna come check you out, man. I'm definitely proud of you, man. So, just for kids that are watching, what are you planning on majoring
in? Business management.
Business management. Okay. Yes, and what's your goal once you have that business management degree?
I want to own my own company. Like I want to do something with fashion because it's hard for us taller athletes to find clothes in our size. So
I want right. Okay. I like that. Do you plan on going to graduate school afterwards, or what's your plans? Do you want
Oh
to
yes,
go
sir.
overseas, or what do you want to do?
Yes, sir. I want to do an extra year to get my MBA, and then after that, I'm planning to go overseas.
Nice, nice. I like that. And just so people understand, him going D2 is not a death sentence for him to go overseas. We had a D2 athlete come on in December, and he went to Cal State Chico, which was a D2. He's now overseas right now playing. Definitely congratulations to Justin Briggs as well. And like I said, you guys are always disproving that myth that if you don't go D1, it's bust, man, because I know your athleticism. I know your family, so I know what it is. So you going to D2, man, I expect you to go up there and do some big things, man. I would not be surprised if you all CIAA, man. Definitely.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No problem. So where's mom? I know mom was over there lurking.
Oh man, mom's doing work right now. She's
Oh,
doing work.
she's at work? Okay, because I was going to have her come on and get her feel about it. But definitely congratulations to mom, because when I said dedicated mom, brother, you definitely have one of those. I mean, she's at the majority of your games. She's at the majority of your practices. She's been at the majority of your camps. So, man, at the end of the day, I know you're thankful. You definitely need to thank her because, man, you don't get those moms all the time, man. Trust me. And her being a sports mom per se and knowing what it is, man, she's been a big one. What's up, Coach Bazemore? I see you. I see you. I see the Shaw people in the house congratulating you as well as most of Columbus as well.
Yes, sir.
So I got another question for you. So coming out of Columbus, how did Columbus lead you to where you at right now?
Just to get away from home. That's
Okay.
it. Just get away from home. His back at home is a whole lot of violence going on right now, and I don't want to be a part of that, But I always been that type of guy who just stay hard nosed, just worry about my work, not just schoolwork also, but also me working on my craft for basketball. So I'm not that type of person who just follows a crowd. I'm a leader.
Okay, okay. Man, I like that. Now, getting away from the violence side, man, a lot of people don't understand Columbus is definitely one of those talented areas, talent rich with athletes. And, man, you definitely fit that mold, man. How you feel about coming out of Columbus as an athlete? Because, man, you guys are loaded with athletes, man.
Oh man, I'm just not just only Columbus, but I'm a Northland pride.
Yes,
Got
sir.
Jared Songer, Trey Burke, Seth Towns, and also an upcoming athlete too, Juwan Weatherspoon.
Okay.
So also Quentin Jones. He was at North Carolina A&T.
Okay.
So it's a lot of guys. At Northland. I just want to be one of those guys who keeps on this tradition.
Keep up representing Northland. What's up, coach at Northland? And Northland always keeps a nice little squad with him. Hey, what's up, Coach McCain? Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree. The Shaw got a steal, definitely. Now, the other big thing when there was a big part of you coming up, man, was All Ohio, right? The EYBL team.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you played what? How many years with All Ohio?
Oh, since I was in the 7th grade.
Wow.
In the 6th grade.
Okay. So that was definitely big for your development as well, because I know a lot of the kids from Pittsburgh make that 3.5, 4 hour trip to All Ohio just to try out for that team and make it. So, like I said, you being an EYBL kid, all my folks in Atlanta, they already certified you on that right there. You know what I'm saying? So, they can't be like, oh, he's sorry. I'm like, no, bro, he's EYBL. Stop it. Just stop. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, the other thing, man, I want you to certify, man, please tell our listeners about the monsters that play JUCO.
Oh man, JUCO basketball is really tough. It's a lot of talent in JUCO basketball. Like when I went to the top 100 top 100 All-American JUCO showcase, I mean, I had a great time. I seen guys who are D1 bounce backs. I seen guys, who just underground, like late bloomers, like me.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was competitive atmosphere, and I loved it.
You're talking about the one that was in Atlanta, right?
Yes, sir.
Woo!
That
Man,
was
we still talking about that one there, man. That whole atmosphere was electric. But and I remember when you were getting in there, like you came in, you was trying to feel your way. But man, you saw the athleticism that was going on in there, man. It was great. Look, I was like a fan. I wasn't even an evaluator that day. I was a straight fan. With some of the folks like D1s coming in there that were bounce backs, like you said, they was
mhm.
getting dunked on. They was like, oh my goodness, yeah, people out there yelling. This ain't D1. Welcome to Iraq. I was like, wow. But yeah, and I mean, in all seriousness, man, like people have this misconception that JUCO basketball is not on the D1 level, which is ludicrous. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, even on the JUCO D2 level, man, there's some killers. Shout out to Coach McCain down there at Fayetteville Tech as well. They got some killers too. And
Yeah.
I just be trying to tell people all the time, be careful, oh well, it's this level or that level. Like you'll get dusted in NAI as well, like and D3, because there's D3 kids that go overseas as well. So, like I said, man, you got to go where it's your fit. And
Mhm.
I already know you had D1s looking at you as well. So you going to Shaw, I mean, like I said, you can see the comments over here in the corner, like Shaw's getting a steal. Definitely. But let's not get it twisted. You're going to the CIAA, which is one of the best D2 conferences in the country. So it's not like you're going to just walk in there and be like, oh, I'm the man. You got Virginia Union, you got Johnson C. Smith, you got St. Aug, like I said, you got Shaw, you got Elizabeth City. I mean, man, you got some players in all those schools, man. So if you go up there talking about, oh, I'm the man, it'll be looking like that JUCO All-American camp.
Yeah.
That we're taking it for granted.
Mhm.
So, like I said, man, I just want you to go up there and kill it, man. Man, I couldn't be more proud of you, man. I know your mom is proud of you, man, your whole family, because, man, you got a strong family bond, man. They supported you from day one. And like I said, man, definitely congratulations, man. And I expect to hear a lot more things in the next 2 years. Definitely expect to hear because I will be up in Shaw checking out some games, and I will be at CIAA. So you may not see me, but I'll be in the stands. Trust me, I will definitely be in the stands, man. So, like I said, I got to come up there to Fayetteville and check out Coach McCain. And I mean, you already know Raleigh's a hop, skip, and a jump from Fayetteville.
That's
So,
40
man,
minutes away.
I'm coming up there and check you out, man. So, we'll go out to eat, man, the whole nine. Couldn't be more proud of you, man, because just watching your whole development over this last year. Shout out to USC Salt, because USC Salt is putting kids in school.
Yeah,
So I got to shout them out as well, man.
but
And
he shouted to Coach Mayo, like honestly, like he put a lot of confidence in me. That helped me develop my game even more.
yeah, definitely. And like I said, your whole team had some ballers, man. It wasn't like it was just you. Man, y'all was loaded, man. Y'all was definitely loaded.
Yes,
And
sir.
just watching you guys play, man, I was like, I expect to see. Has anybody else signed besides you?
Oh no, sir, just me. This guys, like I said, they're a young team, so it's guys staying back for an extra year.
Oh,
And
they're
I
doing the extra year?
and
Okay.
I
Okay.
preached to them too. I was like, man, you guys, you guys can go further in this. Like, just stay an extra year. So they listened to me, and they all stay an extra year. So I was like, well, they're gonna
Okay. So that
renew.
means Salt gonna be tough next year, man.
They're
They're
gonna
gonna be real tough. So
they're
I'll
gonna
definitely have to check them out, man. But man, like I said, man, congratulations. I mean, like I said, I feel like you mine, man, just watching you just develop, man, and just knowing your whole lineage. Like I said, I've known your mom for uh gosh, it's almost 20 years, well, almost 30 years. Jeez.
oh Lord,
That's telling my age. That's telling my age. Yeah. I've
30
known
years.
your mom for almost 30 years. Next year will be 30 years. So, I mean, your mom was an athlete, your whole family, you come from a family of athletes, man. And this just only makes sense, man. And like I said, man, I see everybody over here on the side, man, is definitely happy for you. Like, you got all your people out here. Next chapter, let's go. And man, like I said, and the people in North Carolina know what it is because they already knew about you. Coach McCain knew about you, Coach Bazemore, and I know both of them personally. So, man, you're going to do some big things there, definitely big things. So I can't wait to check you out, man. Is there anything you want to say before we close out, man?
I just want to say thank you to all the other college coaches who recruited me, take me out, took me out on visits. because me and my family, we love them. Just that it's all about the system. It's all
Mhm.
about what's the right fit for me. But second, I just want to thank God because without Him, none of this would be possible.
Right.
Well, faith and prayer, and just me having belief in myself. It's gonna take me a long way.
Man, I couldn't agree with you more, man. Like I said, man, definitely, man, I'm proud of you, bro. This is big time, bro. For me, it didn't matter if you went D2, D1, D3 in AI. You're another young fella, man, that's making it out, man. And you got the grades. You definitely got the game, man. And like I said, man, you got my support. You got Atlanta behind you. You got Columbus behind you. Now you got North Carolina behind you, man. Go ahead and do big things, man. Definitely do big things. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Oh man, anytime, man. This is Deshawn Daniels, man. It's my guy, man. I can't wait to see him, man, blossom into that next big thing. Hey, Coach Bazemore, you got something on your hands, brother. You definitely got something on your hands. Hey, man, so I'm gonna check you out, man. I'll probably come up there probably October or November to come check you out. Probably the first or second game, whatever the home game is. I'll probably make it up there to see you, man. So, hey,
Yes, sir.
man, definitely, man, go do it, man. Definitely
Thank
go do it. And like I said, go get that second paper. You already got your associates. Go get that bachelor's and go get your master's. Take full advantage, man. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, man. Definitely, man. I'm gonna see you, man. I'm gonna see you in a minute, okay? All right, man. Take care of yourself. That's my man, Deshawn Daniels, man. Hey, incredible athlete in that 6'5", 6'6" range. Athletic. Like I said, if you saw his highlights, you'd be like, oh yeah, this guy can go. It's just one of those situations, man. This is what this is all about. The whole Hoops Hidden Gems podcast. It's about seeing kids take that next step. Sean's coming from JUCO. Usually it's kids coming from high school or post grad, but I definitely didn't want to discount anybody that's in JUCO. Like I said, high academic students, 3.9, 4.0. And that's what I love to see. I mean, outside of, even if he didn't make it, man, if he got a 3.9 or 4.0, he's going to be fine because that ball's going to stop bouncing at some point. And that, with that behind him, he'll go very far. Our next guest, man, from New Mexico, JC, Coach Carr. How you doing today?
Good. I'm doing good, Coach. How are you?
Man, I'm doing pretty good, man. Like I said, it's kind of led into you as well since we had a JUCO signing announce his next step in life going to Shawn University. Man, New Mexico JC got a high placement rate as well, and a lot of people don't know about you guys. So that's why I was bringing you on. I
Yes,
had
sir.
Coach Lee on earlier in the year talking
Mm-hmm.
about the women's program. Now I
Yes,
wanted to
sir.
bring you on to talk about the men's program, man. Tell us a little more about New Mexico JC, man.
I got you. Well, I appreciate you, Coach, for sure. It's always good to be on a podcast with you and talking with you, especially in areas that are, farther away from New Mexico than most. But,
Mm-hmm.
basically the biggest thing about our spot is we play in one of the toughest conferences in junior college.
Okay.
Schools like South Plains and Odessa are all in our conference. They were number 1 and number 3 in the nation this last year. So,
Yeah.
basically what we provide for our athletes is, you're coming into a situation where you're going to get the most coaches' eyes on you as possible. You're going to have coaches in the gym. Normally, if there wasn't a pandemic, there'd be a ton of coaches in our gym just for practice because we're going to have good players. You're going to have good teammates. And then you're going to have a ton of good coaches in the gym when you're playing against anybody in our conference because they're going to have good players as well. So, basically that battle night in, night out is what coaches want. What they want. They want the best of the best in junior college. And, that's what we offer in our conference, in the WAC Jack, is just a battle every night. Players from our conference go to some high major schools on a regular basis. It's just not a once every while thing. Usually it's every year we're getting a high major kids coming from our conference. So that's what we offer at our spot. In addition to that, we went through a $30 million renovation with our facilities.
Wow.
So, we got a brand new locker room, which, you can kind of see some of it behind me right now. But
I see it looking sharp back there.
yeah,
I see it.
it's big time. It's big time.
Okay.
It's better than some Division I's, in my opinion. At the junior college level, we're blessed to have that. We're going to have brand new facilities, brand new practice gym. Our arena is one of the hardest places to play in the nation, I believe, just because of the atmosphere we have, and the city of Hobbs really gets behind us. So, we have a spot that's fully funded for kids to come in and they can really focus on what's important to them, which is hoops and athletics. So, a lot of situations, junior colleges kind of get that bad rep for, the housing isn't that great. The gyms are so. That's not our situation out here. We have some of the best facilities in the nation that you can have at the junior college level. And I think it really allows our guys to come in and be comfortable, focus on, hoops and, their academics instead of having to worry about other things like, when am I going to get my next meal, or am I going to get gym access, or things like that? That's something our guys don't have to worry about out here for sure. So,
Okay. And that's touching on some things I wanted to ask you about tonight.
yes.
So in that whole, when as a prospect and I come out to you, you said this is a JUCO D1, so you guys cover everything. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are able to split scholarships like every junior college is. But we like to try to keep ours pretty much even, so our guys are comfortable and know what they're getting. They're able to keep their Pell and things like that. So, they'll have a little extra money in their pocket if they get Pell that way. We don't really like to mix and match that it just keeps the kids more comfortable and knowing where their, next meal is. They're getting extra money. They have their housing there, that they have a place to sleep in, so they're not worrying about that. So, we are able to mix and match, but we choose really not to. We want to bring in the highest level of players, and if we're bringing in the right guys, they're full scholarship guys, so we shouldn't have to mix and match them.
So also, do you have work study as well for your kids?
We do.
Okay.
We offer work study in the gym. Our biggest thing is we try to do that for a lot of the international kids that aren't able to get financial aid like normal kids in the States get. So
Yes.
we usually try to save those work study jobs for them, so they're able to make a little bit of extra money on the side and be more comfortable as well. And, we've gotten people from all over the world. We got a kid from right now. We had a kid last year from Sweden. We've had kids from Georgia, not that Georgia, but the other Georgia across
the nation. Yes.
So we've gotten them from everywhere pretty much, and brought them in, and they've been comfortable with the situation and done well for themselves. So
okay. So on the academic side, what type of majors do you offer for these kids that, of course, we know you have the general studies that can help them get to their junior year and then they could select from there. But if they want to specialize in something, what does New Mexico JC offer?
We do offer them, we do offer separate things they can specialize in, whether it's business or other things like that. But, junior college is primarily for their basics. And the biggest thing that we, talk about is all our guys have graduated and gotten that AA, that have been here since Coach Adams has been the head coach here. So they've all been eligible to get that D1 scholarship that they want. And they've been in a good situation to go Division I if that opportunity is there. So we do offer separate, kind of areas of study where they can focus on business. They can focus on criminology, sociology, things like that. But, just with how hectic basketball is with a lot of the guys we bring in, we tell them, it's probably better just to stay with the, just the regular AA, make sure you get your basics knocked out. And then when you get to that 4-year, you can specialize in what you want to do. And if you're doing the right things and keeping up with your grades the right way, you should be in a perfect situation to get that done. So
exactly, and that just leads to when we had Deshawn on the show, having the 3.9 4.0 GPA, and heading into Shaw, he's in that perfect situation that you're talking about right there.
Right.
So the next thing I wanted to talk about, now I know COVID hit you guys last year, so you guys didn't have a season, but in general, without COVID, messing the season up, what's your placement rate for your guys that come into New Mexico JC?
Well, we've sent them all over the nation. We've had guys just in our program's history. We've sent guys to TCU, Oregon, Washington State, Pittsburgh, North Texas, BYU. Gideon George is a huge, story that people have been talking about. He's had great success at BYU this last year. We've had guy Darnell Rogers as well, as a huge guy that came through New Mexico, or he's a shorter guy, but he came through New Mexico Junior College and he got the scholarship he wanted. North Texas, like I said, as well. We've been able to place guys in some good spots. We actually have a guy going to Coppin State that actually stayed with us.
Okay.
That didn't play this year at all. He just got his academics done, and he still got an offer to Coppin State. Just to tell you what type of guys we have out here, and even the guys that, basically our situation was kind of unique out here. We had the opportunity to play. We knew we would play at some point, but we just couldn't guarantee when we would play. So it could have been the middle of February, late February. We couldn't guarantee when it was going to be. So just to tell you what type of guy Coach Adams is, he chose to do his best for his players. We could have held on to our guys and if we played, we played. If we didn't, we didn't. But he wanted to make sure his guys got that scholarship opportunity. So we sent 9 guys to new JUCOs in about 3 or 4 days. And, those guys have all gotten scholarship offers to some pretty good spots. We've had a guy go to Long Beach State, Montana State, NC Central. The guy that didn't play that was with us is getting an offer to Coppin State as well. Nebraska, Omaha, a guy that we had that was at our spot that we sent to Salt Lake got a job or got an offer as well. So, we had the right players to make a run, I thought, at that national tournament. But we made the decision that, hey, we can't guarantee you guys are going to get to play and when you're going to play. So you guys need to get that recruitment you really want and get that opportunity to play that you want. So, we help those guys move on to new spots. And I think that's a big thing to say, especially even if we didn't have guys that played, they still got scholarship offers. So,
yeah, that's big time right there. That's very big time, and that's classy of the head coach. Instead of trying to hold on to him to say, "Hey, I want you to be able to take advantage of the opportunity if somebody else is going to play, and we can't guarantee you, man." That's class all the way, man.
Right.
Now, I got a question for you, Coach.
Yes, sir.
And this is from a prospect standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times some kids are caught up in, well, Coach, are you a top 25 JUCO?
Mm-hmm.
Or, were you ranked last year?
Right.
And I understand, yes, top 25 JUCOs do place, but can you please explain to the audience that you guys do just the same job as top 25 JUCOs?
Well, normally in our case, I think we would have been a top 25 JUCO, but even the ones that aren't top 25 JUCOs are still going to have good players. There's tons of good players all over the nation. It doesn't really matter where you're playing at. If you're in New Mexico, if you're in California, if you're in Texas, New York, one of the best players I ever had coaching, went to Montgomery College in Maryland and was the D3 junior college player of the year.
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm.
And, he was a great player. He shouldn't have been at a D3 JUCO. He should have been at a Division I JUCO. No offense to, Montgomery out there. Their coach is a great coach. They have a great program, but he was a great player that I got the opportunity to coach, definitely a Division I player. So they're all over the place. The biggest thing is you need to find, genuine people. That's why I talk about to recruits is it doesn't matter that we got all this nice stuff, the locker room, the gym, nice facilities. It doesn't matter about that stuff. It matters about the people. If you have a head coach that's behind you and assistant coaches that are going to work for you, it doesn't matter where you're at. You're going to get that scholarship opportunity that you want because there's a ton of coaches around. There's a ton of people telling other people about good players. So if you're good enough, somebody's going to find you and you're going to get the opportunity you want. It's just what you do when you get that opportunity. So it doesn't matter what JUCO you're at, top 25 or not. If you take care of yourself and win games, coaches will see that and get you to the spot you want to go to. So.
And that's a great point. And also New Mexico JC also plays in those big time jamborees as well in front of a bunch of coaches, correct? Can you expand on that a little bit?
Well, we go to two of them. We go to Dallas and we go to one in Colorado. So basically there's going to be about 300 coaches at that Dallas one.
Yeah.
At all levels, D2 to Division I. So, that's kind of, I was a D2 coach as well before I went to New Mexico Junior College. And that's kind of the first opportunity, we use to, pinpoint people that we really want to get on. You try to watch as many kids as you can, and you try to have as many coaches on your staff in that gym as you can just to, see as many kids as possible. So it's that's usually that first opportunity for you to get your name out there and you to get noticed. So that's why we try to be out there, just because there's a ton of coaches at that event. The one in Colorado has a ton of coaches as well. Being at that event is huge also. And that's the biggest thing about JUCO is we try to get as much exposure for our guys as possible. So going to those two events, which as many coaches as there are out there, that gets our guys as much exposure as possible. And hopefully they get, those calls right after they're done, or even during that stuff that, hey, we really want to talk to him, or we want to talk to so-and-so, and that's why we go to it. It's for them. It's for their exposure. It also helps us get ready for the season as well. So
exactly. That one in Dallas, that one is in early October or late October.
I believe it's middle October. I want to say, I don't know the exact date.
I know this year I definitely plan on being out there. I've been to most of the ones in Florida, but I wanted to get to the one in Dallas because everybody's been talking about, okay, that's the big boy one.
Right.
So I definitely wanted to see that one.
No, I think you'd enjoy it. It's also in Dallas too, which is awesome. Dallas is a great city, and there's a ton of stuff to do around there. So it's a lot of basketball, and then there's a lot of coaches in that work with as well. So it's a great opportunity for coaches and players, in my opinion.
Definitely, I agree. So one other thing I wanted to ask as well. So if you come across a student that's a high academic student, and let's say they finish their AA before the season's over, or let's say they finish before spring starts, right? Let's say they took some college classes in high school. So after their first year, after the first semester or first semester of their second year, they're finished. Do you have a dual enrollment program that they can take advantage of?
Well, what JUCO offers, there's a rule in junior college. If you're going to graduate, in that first semester of your second year, you don't have to be a full-time student that second semester. So that allows you, it allows you some wiggle room, as far as, eligibility wise, but it also allows you to, be eligible even if you don't need to take a full course load. So it really allows our guys that second semester to focus on ball and things like that. We do not offer a dual enrollment as far as with another 4-year college. We're working on that to see if we can get that done, as far as, if you can take some junior college and then take some classes from another 4-year during the same time. But, with the pandemic and a lot of guys getting their year back, I think a lot of guys are going to be using that rule where, they go full-time that first semester and then go part-time that second semester to help with eligibility purposes and things like that. So, and still get their AA in the process. So, I think that's what we'll be using, and a lot of JUCOs are going to have to use, I think. So.
Okay. So let me ask this as well. So also, since it was a pandemic year, do you have any guys coming back?
We had the one guy that was believing he was going to come back, but he got that offer to Coppin State, which is close to where he's from. So he's going to take that. We have a freshman that was unable to go anywhere because he was out of status basically as an international, and moving to another JUCO would affect that. So he'll be coming back, really good player as a freshman. What's kind of unique about our program is a lot of those sophomores that we sent on to other JUCOs so they could play got the Division I scholarships they wanted because they were good enough players, and that's just how it works. So, we don't have many sophomores that are looking to come back. We have a few that we've talked to about that situation, but they're still getting talked to by Division I. So, if they choose to come back, and we'll definitely bring them back with open arms because they went through a tough situation with us with the pandemic and having to deal with what was going on and move to a new JUCO in the middle of the year and things like that. But if the opportunity arises, we definitely have our arms open for them if they want to come back. But a lot of the guys, like I said, that we had were sophomores that are moving on to their new Division I. So, which is what you want as a JUCO coach. So
absolutely. I mean, like I said earlier, it speaks volumes not of your coach, but it also speaks volumes of your whole staff of what you were recruiting, because if all of them went to other places and got D1 scholarships, Look, I was going to be happy if you said they got D2 scholarships in the
Right.
pandemic, but man, that's huge. But that also means you're recruiting hard right now, then, because you're bringing in a whole new team, then, right?
Yep. Yes, sir. Yeah, it's brand new. It's been a different situation for sure. It's probably the most unique season I'll ever have as a coach in my life. Just having to deal with the pandemic stuff and having to recruit a new team and things like that. But it's also exciting because it's a clean slate for everybody we bring in. We want to bring in really good players but also good people, and we want them to be able to compete right away. So we've been like everybody else, really on the transfer list, but also recruit high school kids as well. In prep school like everybody else is. But it's an exciting situation to be in, to bring in a brand new team. Definitely Coach Nesbitt, that was the assistant coach before I got here, did a good job with last year's guys, and the Coach Adams as well, bringing in a good group. So we were excited for what they did, but work never stops. You got to bring in a new group, and they got to compete in one of the toughest conferences in junior college. So,
let me ask this for people that are out there watching, as well as prospects and parents. Do you have a Twitter page?
yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
What's your Twitter page? So they can get
It's just at, and then my first name, last name, that's on the screen. So,
got you. Okay.
yeah, my
Yeah,
last name's
definitely.
kind of messed up, but it's a simple Twitter handle for sure. But
Got you.
yes,
Okay.
sir. Mm-hmm.
Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about, player development once they get there.
Right.
What do you guys do from a player development standpoint to develop your players?
We're really big on player development. I tell people all the time, me and Coach Adams, we're both 29 years old. We don't have any families or anything like that. So, it's not like I'm leaving the office at 5:30 every day and picking my kid up from soccer practice and my athletes don't see me, the rest of the day. Like, we're up here early in the morning, up here late at night. Whenever our guys want to get in and get work in, we're there for them to come in the gym. And now with us having a practice gym, we got two areas where we can bring kids into. So it really doesn't matter to us, early morning, late at night. If you're trying to get some work in and take that next step in your game, we're available to you. We also have 4 shooting guns. 2 of them are brand new. So if guys just want to get in and get shots up, but me and Coach have worked with some high level guys throughout our careers. Coach has worked with guys that have been in the NBA. I was at Angelo State, and we had 21 guys get pro scholarships when I was out there. Not scholarships, but signed pro contracts when I was at Angelo State. So, we've worked around pros. We understand what it takes, what that next level takes for our guys to be pros. And that's what we preach every day is you don't only want to be good for us, but you want to be good at your 4-year and then after that. So, we work on, obviously finishing is huge. Coach is one of the best shooting coaches I've ever been around. So if we have guys that have just technical issues with your shot, we get in with them, form shoot with them, get their hand placements right, get their, other issues they may have right. And then, they kind of go from there. And I think our track record has shown since Coach Adams has been here, guys have improved since they've come through New Mexico Junior College, and nobody's really gotten worse or stayed the same. So.
Well, the big thing, even yes, your track record speaks for itself because it's speaking for itself from a placement standpoint. At the end of the day, it's about results. No matter we can sit up here and talk all day. Oh, you have this, you have that, but you're sending guys to the next level. And for any prospect that is watching right now, that should be your first question. What is the placement rate? If they say, "Oh, we got 2 kids and the others we're still looking," you're not doing your job.
Right.
Just plain and simple. You're not. But you're sitting up here, not with your chest out, but you can be with your chest out. You guys are doing an amazing job. And, man, like I said, that's why I made it a point when I reached out to you. I was like, hey, man, would you like to be on this show? Because you got a story to tell. And you got a great story to tell. And, like you said, yes, you're a little bit away from Georgia, but, man, at the end of the day, JUCO's JUCO, whether it's 10 miles down the road or it's all the way across the country, and it's really not that far. You still are somewhat centrally located because would you fly into Las Cruces?
Actually, a lot of people think we're farther into New Mexico than we really are. We're kind of right on that Texas-New Mexico border.
So you flying into El Paso?
Well, you could fly into Midland, you could fly into Lubbock. It's about an hour and a half from Lubbock and Midland. We
Okay.
have an airport in Hobbs as well. You kind of got to get on it ahead of time, to get some good flights that way, because it isn't the biggest airport, but Midland and Odessa are right there. And I drive 15 minutes and I'm right back into Texas. So we're kind of right on that border, in a good situation. A lot of schools in our conference are an hour and a half away from each other. So I mean, like Midland, Odessa, that's an hour and a half away. Big Springs, where Howard is an hour and a half.
And
South
those are,
Plains.
and just to stop you real quick, those are all big time schools.
Right.
Howard, Odessa, Midland,
Mhm.
they all have quality
Right.
prospects, just like you guys have.
Right.
Like Deshawn has said down here, your conference is not for the weak. You got some killers in that conference.
Right. It's a battle every day, night in, night out. But us being so close is why college coaches recruit us as much as they do as well. They're trying to hit as many schools as possible when they
Yeah.
hit those recruiting trips. So if we're all just an hour and a half away from each other, they can hit our practice. They can go to Howard. They can go Midland, Odessa, South Plains, all on the same 2-3 day recruiting trip at the most. So, and that's what kids want. They want as many eyes on them as possible. And that's what our conference offers and our program offers for sure.
So you would say it's safe to say you have one of the strongest conferences in the country. I didn't say the best, but one of the strongest.
I would think so. I would believe so. If you just look at our track record in the national tournament, I don't know the statistics, but I believe, I don't know them exactly, but I believe it's 8 out of the last 13 years a team from our conference went to that national championship game. So, so that just kind of speaks for itself. We have really high level basketball out here, and the school that comes out of our conference is battle tested and performs in that national tournament, in my
That's for
opinion.
sure.
So,
Definitely, that's for sure. Man, Coach, I mean, I don't know. I know Mr. Maddox right there. I'm a Coffeyville alumni. And he said national championships, national champions in the building.
yeah.
Tell him that might change next year. It might change.
Hey, they did a great job. The coaches out there, I got a ton of respect for the Kansas JUCOs out there as well.
Yeah.
When I was at Angelo State, we recruited some really good players out of that conference. So they have a really good conference out there as well. So I know when those conferences are going up against each other, it's going to be a battle. Florida has a really good conference as well. Those schools out there can really play. Got a ton of respect for them also. But I know when our conference matches up with them, it's definitely a battle every time. So
Yeah, definitely. And like I said, and now he's joking. Like I said, everybody knows about Kansas and Florida. And just like you said, you're right there on the border of Texas. So yeah, yes, you're New Mexico, but you're in the Texas conference. So everybody knows that conference is beyond battle tested. And
yes, sir.
one of the biggest things, like I said, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with the Georgia and Alabama conferences. They're solid conferences, but traditionally, when you're talking about your conference, you're talking about Florida's conference, when you're talking about Kansas conference, that's where that's where the coaches are going, because they know that's where those high majors are year in and year out. And
Yes,
it's
sir.
been like that 30 plus years that I know of. I can go as far back as like Mitch Richmond and Mookie Blaylock. Mitch Richmond was in the Kansas conference, but Mookie Blaylock went to Midland, Texas. So, I mean, Larry Johnson went to Odessa.
Right. Yeah, you got Spud Webb that was out in our conference as well. So
yeah, I mean, you guys having a strong alumni of pros, and we're talking NBA pros. And I mean, it's almost, I hate to say this, almost second nature that your guys are going overseas. Like I'm not going to say it's a guarantee, but it's a high probability with the guys and the talent that you bring out of that conference that I would love to see the statistic of the guys out of your conference that go professional, whether it be NBA or professional overseas. I would love to see that statistic.
Right.
I know it's high, and that's why I ask. That's why I say that.
I know it is pretty high. I don't have the exact numbers, but it's pretty high. It's pretty up there for sure. But I got a ton of respect for any junior college, though. It doesn't matter the conference.
Yeah.
It's a battle every day, night in, night out, and it doesn't matter where you're at. You can get beat at any time, and everybody does a great job. The California JUCOs, even with their situation, they do a great job out there with their guys. And just, like I said, one of the best players I coached was out in Maryland at Montgomery College. So it doesn't matter where you're at junior college wise, just our track record and our conference has been really high to bring in really good players. And I think it's our facilities and the type of coaches we've had in our history as well that's made it what it is and allowed us to have, the nice things we have now for sure.
Yeah, I mean, by far, you have one of the best facilities in JUCO, hands down. I mean, you can rival that up against, like you said, especially them low D1s. I'm like, this is better than low D1 JUCOs. You're putting in $30 million. That's not an everyday thing for a JUCO, as you know. There's some
No
JUCOs
doubt.
you're like, man, it's a little rough, but you guys run a quality program. You got quality facilities. I mean, you're taking care of them. You got places to stay from. You put them on meal plans. I mean, they have a number of options for academics.
Mm-hmm.
You're checking off all the boxes at New Mexico. And like I said, I just wanted the people in Georgia to see what this is. So,
yes, sir. Yeah, no, I appreciate it for sure. I appreciate it for sure. I definitely appreciate you having me on here. Not everybody knows about New Mexico Junior College because as far as we are away, but we show the recruits we talk to our facilities and everything we got going on, and I think it's a great situation for sure.
Definitely. Well, Coach, you definitely killed this one, man. I know there's going to be plenty of people asking me, but tell me some more about this New Mexico Junior College, or, can I contact Coach? That's why I made it a point that you put your Twitter out there, because I'm sure you'll get some people inquiring some more about you, man. You definitely guys run an A1 program out there, and I just wanted to thank you for coming out and talking about your program, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you as well, Coach. Just anytime I can talk hoops with anybody, and get our name out there, I try to do it. And, we're always looking for players. So it doesn't matter where they are or where they're at. We're interested in them for sure. So I appreciate you as well. It's a big time podcast you run, and I hope you keep running it for sure.
I appreciate that. And like I said, we'll meet up in Dallas because, like I said, man, I have to get out to that Dallas jamboree. That's going to be big out there. Like I said, I've been to the Florida one. I think this year I definitely got to make a point to get to the Dallas one, man.
Okay.
Definitely.
Sounds good. We'll definitely be out there, and we can chop it up while you're out there for sure.
Oh, definitely, man. And thank you again for coming on the show, man. We'll definitely be in touch real soon, probably after this show, likely. All right, man. You take care, and I appreciate you, okay?
Right. You too. Appreciate you as well, Coach.
Anytime. That's Coach Carr from New Mexico, JC. Man, listen, for any of you guys that are not educated on quality JUCOs, that conference right there puts out pros. So you go in there thinking you're going to go and kill, you are sadly mistaken. Sadly mistaken. That conference right there, I think it's safe to say they're probably in the top 3 or 4 in regards to putting out pros. And we're not talking about just your average pros you never heard of. They're quality pros. Like I said, we all know about Larry Johnson. They have, and he mentioned Spud Webb, they put out those type of pros in their conference. And I just wanted to definitely reach out some more and let people know. And again, this is about education. Like I said, Deshawn with the USC Salt quality program in South Carolina. But, for programs like New Mexico that people that don't know about them, except for sometimes it's your D1 drop downs that have to go back and do another year before they bounce back. They go to places like this. And I just wanted to bring him on the show so people can understand what it is. And another place that people that don't, he mentioned like D3 and D2 junior colleges. And I know he's watching right now. Man, people have to understand places like Fayetteville Tech in North Carolina, Pinehurst Community College up in Pinehurst, North Carolina. They won the D3 national championship a couple years ago. Those are tough places. No, you just don't walk in there and say, "Oh, wow, this is D2. I'm gonna go ahead and knock them off for 25 or 30." You're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. That's not going to happen. You're probably going to get your feelings hurt because number one, Fayetteville has an incredible amount of talent, and that's why I love to travel the country so much. Because you find places like I never in a million years would have thought about, like Louisiana. And again, I talked about it last week on Louisiana. Louisiana got some ballers, and they have some really good athletes. Alabama, when you start thinking of these Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi, you kind of say, oh, well, there's not really ball down there. That is so wrong because they're looked at as football states. And man, they have some incredible athletes that people, because they're in small rural towns, a lot of times you don't get a chance to see them. And yes, Mr. Sheridan, 100%. Those Texas, Florida, Kansas JUCOs can beat mid majors. I definitely can beat the low majors, definitely. And let's not talk about D2s as well. I mean, they will definitely get at some D2s. I mean, these guys right here, sometimes for whatever reason, sometimes it's grades, sometimes it could be a number of things that they had to go JUCO. But talent-wise, that's why you have, especially for that conference, 100, 200, 300 coaches in the building. You don't have a conference where you're going to attract 200 and 300 coaches and there's not good talent there. If you believe otherwise, I don't know what to tell you. When you draw those type of numbers, obviously you have something that everybody wants. And, like I said, a lot of times, and again, I hate to say this, I don't want Division II or Division III coaches to be scared off. When I think of Huff over in the NAI, I can only imagine Huff would be right there like, I want some too. Because like I said, it's all about the fit. And this show kind of correlates with, what he's talking about all the way down to Deshawn making his decision. I mean, Deshawn had D1s. He had 3 or 4 D1s that were right there like, okay, we'd like to have him too. He chose Shaw. I'm sure there's some people that are like, well, why did he choose Shaw? At the end of the day, it's a great fit for him. He's going to go there. And just like Eddie Benton said last week, you want to go someplace that you can have a Hall of Fame career. Instead of just saying, man, I want to go here just because it's New Mexico State, Texas, Baylor, or something to that extent, and you're not playing. What does that doesn't accomplish anything. You're not getting any better watching. And it's not to say you can't be a good teammate from the bench, but everybody wants to play and get better. So would you rather just go to a place like that and just enjoy the college experience, which some people do, or would you rather go D2 or D3 and be an All-American, possibly get your number retired, and end up going overseas? Or you could say, well, instead of doing that, I want to go to Texas and barely play, but I was a Longhorn for 4 years. Some people, if that's what floats your boat, so be it. And hey, I take my hats off to them. And like Dr. Love is saying, yeah, 200 and 300 coaches in the building. You got to be doing something good. I mean, playing is still, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. When you start talking those amount of numbers, I mean, those are live period numbers. Those are bigger than some live periods, of course. And so, yeah, and Coach Max, just to say you're the 14th man on the D1 roster, so what, man? I mean, what's that accomplishing? I mean, you worked that hard and you knew you weren't at that level, or you knew very quickly when you got there that this wasn't your level. There's no shame in saying, hey, this was a little above my level. Let me go down to my level where I'm a fit and I know I'm going to play. Some people say, oh, you need to compete. Man, listen, you can say, yeah, you want to compete, but places like New Mexico and other places where they're constantly bringing in high major, if not high major, mid-major to high. If you're not that type of talent, you're going to watch. Let's not sugarcoat this. You are going to watch. So you got a decision to make. Are you going to just work your butt off to compete? Or are you going to say, you know what? I'm better served that this is a better fit, because everybody doesn't have a 45-inch vertical. Everybody doesn't run a 4.4. Everybody doesn't shoot the lights out either. Everybody doesn't rebound 15 rebounds a game. If you don't have a specialty that you can excel at on that level, there's nothing wrong with going to a JUCO D2 and JUCO D3. And that's going to be my next show in the upcoming weeks. I'm going to bring on JUCO D2s so they can talk about what they do as well. Because again, I don't want to be just like I talk about D1s. Listen, JUCO D1 was to introduce you guys, but man, JUCO D2s do the same thing. They're putting people in D2, NAI, D3. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with it? We have to get away from D1 or bust. Now, I totally understand with JUCO D1. If you don't have the money to go and this is the way to go and they're paying for everything, absolutely, I understand. JUCO D2s, there's situation with JUCO D2s where with your Pell Grant, you're going for free, basically. I brought one on and he mentioned it. And come to find out, there's a couple more that do that as well, where your Pell Grant can cover your whole academics there, and you have some money back in your pocket. We have to do better as parents. We have to do better as coaches. We have to do a lot better of educating ourselves as well as these kids. There you go, Deshawn, right there. St. Clair sent a kid to West Virginia, but nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about it. It's like, oh, okay, that's a one-off. There's plenty of one-offs. There's plenty of them. And there's plenty of kids that went to these places that are overseas making 100,000, 200,000. And if they'd have listened to some of these people that are know-it-alls, they could have blew their chances. So, like I said, Deshaun, that's a great point where, St. Clair, like, I'm sure most of our listeners don't even know what St. Clair is. It's a JUCO in Ohio. I'm not sure if it's D2 or D3, but my point is they're sending kids to D1. And even if they didn't send them to D1, so what? It's safe to say Amani Bates is not going to play his senior year and be out in the G League. Boy, you guys are opening up a can of worms right there. Let me say this first before I answer this. Shout out to Scoot Henderson, the Atlanta product. Atlanta, y'all still doing y'all thing big time. Scoot just signed a G League deal for 2 years because he reclassed up and now he's going to play in the G League for 2 years. I forgot the numbers on it, but I think it's $1 million if I'm not mistaken. But bottom line, he's a next level talent. And one thing I want to ask you guys, especially that are in Atlanta, for you guys, who's next? Like in the past couple of years, we've been fortunate enough to have a number of talented players come through here. You had Ant-Man, you had Sharif Cooper, you had Colin. Now you got Scoot Henderson. My choice, probably the next one, I would probably say for 2022, Bruce is going to Ohio State. That may change as well when he starts seeing this money that's flying around. That's Bruce Thornton that he plays for TSF as well as Milton High School in Alpharetta. For 2023, you got Isaiah, you got Kanan, both of them. Isaiah goes to Wheeler, Kanan goes to Milton with Bruce. But I'm going to give you a sleeper that I love, and his mom watches the show, and I know this may be putting some heat on him. One of my favorite players that is up and coming that people didn't really realize. I mean, I knew he was good, but to see him improve the way he is Colin Carr. I'm telling people right now, for our listeners that are out of state, not in Georgia, Colin Carr went to, where did he go? You have to excuse me because he just transferred. So he transferred to Legacy early. Cohen went to, it starts with a D, and my mind went blank. But listen, that kid right there, to me, he's on that level, and he's showing in EYBL why he's on that level. So Dutchtown, he went to Dutchtown. So I would love to see, because Atlanta's so loaded, it looks like every year we're going to be sending people out to those type of thanks, Dre. It came in my head, but I appreciate it. Atlanta's so loaded that we're fortunate enough to see these type of next level kids every year now. And now I won't say I'm afraid. Now that overtime is coming to Atlanta with their league and they're building an arena downtown, is only going to intensify Atlanta basketball even more. I'm excited about it, but I'm a little nervous on the other end, and not from a basketball standpoint. Nobody has really talked about, if you really want to go that route, nobody's talked about if these kids are going to get taken advantage of, because with this money flowing around, I hope all these kids have a strong family foundation, whether it's their parents, their grandparents, their aunts, uncles, whoever the case may be, because I just smell, people are going to take advantage of some of these kids. And I hope that's not the case, but I think it'll be a lot easier. I mean, because they're 16, 17, and really their parents will be handling that money. And for parents that have never handled that amount of money, I hope they're going to financial literacy classes, or you're going to see them blow through that money like it's nothing, and they're going to be taken advantage of, or you're going to see somebody trying to take them to court to sue them for this, that, or the other. So, I, yeah, yeah. Mr. Maddox, you being a Chicago guy, yes, you guys had an excellent run too with AD, D Rose, Jabari Parker, Jahlil Okafor. That was the early 2010s when Chicago was definitely killing them with Simeon and the rest of those tough teams in the City League. I look at that. I mean, Chicago, they're a mainstay, just like Chicago, New York, Philly, Houston. Those are hotbeds. I mean, and now Atlanta. I mean, if you don't want to admit it, you better recognize now Atlanta is in that same conversation with all of those cities now, because they're putting out those type of kids every year. Just like you had Jabari Smith. You had the other kid from that's transferring to Auburn, Walker Kessler. You got a bunch of those kids now that, I mean, Atlanta's putting out a number of kids. And if you're looking at from a perspective of D1s, you can go to a number of websites online to see how many kids are going D1 from Georgia. And a good majority of them are from Atlanta. And that is no knock on any place, Augusta, Macon, Savannah, because they got Albany, Valdosta. All of them have some great athletes as well. But man, I mean, Georgia as a whole, you got to understand, Georgia's here now. Definitely. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Atlanta is definitely in the convo. I forgot about DC. Forgive me, DMV area. I did not mean to forget you guys. But yeah, when you're talking hotbeds, all I'm saying is Atlanta is now a hotbed. And people can say, oh, well, it's a melting pot. People moved here. Yeah, that's true. A lot of people moved here. But what you gonna do? I mean, everybody's in Atlanta now that's moved here. A lot of them can play. So this has been one of those shows. I'm not sure if we were supposed to have one more person come on, but I don't think he's gonna be able to make it. Dre, you in the building? Come holler at me.
Yo,
What up, bro?
what's good?
Man, I'm still tired from this past weekend. I laughed at your tweet a couple weeks ago that AAU coaches should get 2 days off. As you know, bro, I was hurting this weekend. I went to 5 different gyms, and when I got home Saturday night, I just fell out. I was completely done, completely. But a lot of people don't realize, what it takes for this stuff. When you're trying to support every team in your program, you know what I mean?
Hey, you ain't gotta tell me, big dog. we just sitting over here, dog. I'm so happy we on a break. No more till July, baby. Don't holler at me till July, dog.
No question, man. I just wanted to get your thoughts, man. That's why I brought you on. What's your thoughts on overtime coming to Atlanta?
I mean, I felt the way I always felt, man. Dre, what's your thoughts on Scoop going to get the bag? My feelings are what I've always felt, man. This game, and you remember when I pulled you into to coaching AAU, I told you that, man, this ain't the game we grew up with.
Yeah, you did.
You know, basketball is business, man. Even at the grassroots level, and not just business. A lot of it is entertainment. Even at the grassroots level, like, you know, me and you talk, like, it's we watched the AAU team get every big matchup for like 5 tournaments in a row, and they didn't win a game.
But they draw numbers, Dre.
And so that's what I'm saying. So it's not about in our day that would never happen.
Yeah.
If you're getting smacked, if you don't win, you wouldn't get matchups. They give the matchups to the guys that win. But it's not about that anymore. It's the entertainment, right? Like we had people say, "Oh man, that game was fun. That game was lit. That game was that." What was the score? What was a 30-point basketball game?
Yeah.
Like in our day, nobody was interested in seeing that. Like you get down by 20, people leaving the gym. Like nobody wanted to see that. Now, we'll stick around and there's still cameras in the gym because we want to see somebody get a dunk and flex in front of the camera, and you're down by 25.
Yeah.
Basketball.
But that's that overtime in baller's life effect, though.
It is, and that's that. And again, that's who we're talking about. And my thing is instead of fighting against it, it's here, right? Like to some degree, you have to accept it. So I look at overtime being here and them paying players as business. It's not about basketball at all. It's business. And just like you've worked as a contractor before, I've worked as a contractor, as a consultant before. We understand when we look at that number, we're negotiating.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's business, and we know there's a certain amount of BS that's going to come with that number, right? Sure. And we know that, okay, you're giving me this number. That means the client is actually paying this number.
Yeah, exactly.
You see what I'm saying? And what would we do in business, D? We would try to find ways to cut out the middleman and bill directly to the client so we can get the bigger number. Right? Yep. That's what these kids are going to have to do. They're going to have to understand that overtime is giving you whatever they're going to give you because there's a bigger number. Right? No company is ever going to pay you exactly what you're worth. They're in this business to make money.
Yeah.
So they feel like they can do that. They have a model that can do that. They have the social media engagement to be able to do that and sell products based off of you. So before you take that contract, when I look at the kids from Team Breakdown, the twins, they took that overtime contract, and I'm not knocking them. I'm happy for them. Go get that money, right?
Yeah.
But you better have a plan. You better know how to market yourself off the floor. You better know how to get to the bigger bag. You better know how to get to that back number or have a plan for how you're going to try to get to that back number. And there's a lot of ways to do it, but you got to have a plan to do it.
Well, okay. So great point you just brought up. So now, and we just talked about this the other day. Okay, so now you don't have to worry about making money off your likeness now that you're in, quote unquote, the G League. So you basically can go out there and get endorsements. The question becomes, are you going to get a Nike bag? Are you going to get an Adidas bag? Are you going to get a Reebok or now Puma bag? Are you going to get those or Under Armour bag? Or
no.
Is somebody
I'm going to answer that question for you. No.
Okay.
No, because you don't have a brand.
Okay. So now that you don't have a brand, you have a bigger platform because you're not in college per se, but you're in the G League. How how are you going to take advantage of that, or is this on your agent per se? Maybe go to a car dealership.
No, it's on you. It's on you. Bill, this is my thing. You don't have to be great at to me, right? You don't necessarily have to be great at negotiating your own deal, right? But I think these kids understand how to build a brand though, right? Because you can get fame without getting money.
Yes,
The
absolutely.
money will come if you know how to get the fame. And these kids, I think, know how to do that if they choose to. Now, the question is, how much time do you spend doing that versus working on your game? Right? Now, at the end of the day, these kids can jump on Twitch and play video games and live stream it and get thousands upon thousands of people watching them live just to interact with them. If Scoop wanted to get on and play Call of Duty, he could do 20,000 on a stream.
Yeah.
If he promoted it and did it successfully, right? You could build a brand in a lot of ways, but understand that you're going to have to make a choice.
Yeah.
Are you a basketball player or are you a businessman that plays basketball? Now there are benefits. I don't want to sound like I'm saying that kids shouldn't focus on basketball, because at the end of the day, hey, I believe LeBron focused on basketball. I think he put his friends in position to where they could focus on and learn the business. But I think, I mean, to get to where he is, he had to spend a lot of time focusing on the game.
Yeah.
But when we talk about whether or not kids are being taken advantage of, there's a lot of different ways you could take advantage of the situation and not let the situation take advantage of you, right? Because all of these kids are not going to the NBA.
Sure.
We know that when they go to college, that all of them aren't going to the NBA. But you can use that platform instead of allowing that platform just to use you.
Okay. So the question becomes, we all know there's certain kids that are quote unquote surefire. Well, in a lot of evaluators' eyes, they're surefire picks for the NBA. Now, what you just brought up is a great point that nobody doesn't talk about that much. What about those kids that go to the G League and let's just say, for instance, like, you know how we used to watch baseball sometime? And when I first put you on and you were talking about the minor leagues. Yes, this is the minor leagues. Basketball is not to the point yet where we've had guys in the G League for 15 years. And I think that's what you're talking about, right?
No, I don't think you have to be there for that long to take advantage of that platform.
Okay. So how long do you have, just in your opinion, what, maybe 3-4 years, 2-3 years to take advantage of it?
I don't think so. I mean,
You're saying right off the rip?
Think of how quick it's about brand building. These kids have a certain amount of fame or they wouldn't have offered you a deal, right? Think about how quick the Young Bull movement jumped. It didn't jump once he got to Alabama. It jumped at Pebblebrook. He brought Young Bull to Alabama and essentially had to shut down his company while he was there.
Yeah.
They killed his momentum. They didn't start his momentum. Right?
Yeah.
So these kids have an opportunity to bring, like, again, when we think about brand building as 40-year-old men, it looks a lot different than what they have the capability to do through social media today. These kids already have hundreds of thousands of Twitter followers already.
That's true. That is true.
Right? The only thing you have to do is start creating content and then create product. If they create content and then start putting out product, it's ready to go for these guys. It's ready to go for a lot of these guys, right? And then it's going to vary based on how compelling the content is, how good you are at what you do, what type of personality that you have. If Scoot, and I don't know him personally, right? But if Scoot has any personality at all, it's moving. The product is moving. Whatever he decides to put out, it's moving. The only thing he has to do is start going on IG Live every day or going on YouTube every day and giving people content.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So when we start talking about content and product, a lot of times for us in this culture in our community, it's clothes. So anytime they push a clothing line that has one of their slogans per se, like you just said, he may wear that in warm-ups, whether it be in the G League or when he gets drafted or whatever the case, and automatically it takes off, right? Because he's been hashtagging it, he's been branding it, right? I guess, and maybe I'm wrong for saying this. I think it's time for us to expand on that branding. I mean, think about it. We all think of clothes, tennis shoes. What else, Dre?
But see, but D, this is what I'm saying. I feel the kids are better at this than we are.
Right? Listen, I'm not. Yeah,
the kids are selling socks. The kids are selling hats, shirts, shorts. I saw Josh Christopher go live on IG, and he was talking about his skincare routine.
Mm-hmm.
Right? These kids get it. I'm telling you, and you think about how many kids sit and watch YouTube videos of other kids playing a video game. It's the craziest shit I've ever seen.
That's true.
But they do it. You just got to have a product after that. You just have to have a product after that. Any product, multiple products. To me, I think Scoot could have an entire lifestyle brand. He could have, luggage. He could have like anything that he figures out that he likes, and he can brand it, and people want to be him, so they'll buy it.
Yeah. Good point. That's a good point. Man, just to think of, number one, it's opportunity, and with it being opportunity, I'm happy for any of these young guys that get an opportunity to change their lives, even on a business form outside of basketball, because now you're talking long-term generating wealth. You know what I mean? So I guess I'm happy, if they go to the G League and they're able to take advantage of what you're talking about. If you're able to go and market yourself because you can, because you're quote unquote a professional, whereas, and I want to say that you're going to have more opportunity to take advantage of that than the quote unquote taking advantage of your likeness. Now, I'm going to say this. I truly believe, like, your Power 5 schools, some of those guys are going to make a huge amount of money on their likeness. Huge. What do you think? Because like a place like Alabama or LSU, they're going to have social branding experts taking care of these guys because it's going to be a recruiting ploy for the next kid that comes in. Let's say Madre Alley came to Louisville and he made $1 million off his likeness before he even went to the league.
You would think so, right? But the NCAA and college athletics has always found a way to rob kids.
That's true. That's a great point.
And they get really creative when it comes to robbing kids. So when I look at the law in Georgia that Governor Kemp passed when it comes to image and likeness, yeah, you can make money, but they can also take a hefty percentage of that money and give it to other programs in the school. They can give your money to other athletes.
That's crazy.
I never put anything. It's going to depend on what the state laws are, and I never put anything past the NCAA when it comes to robbing kids.
But you know what? He better be careful, because that law in itself will have Georgia and Georgia Tech crying the blues when kids say, "Oh no, y'all taking my money." Right?
Depends on what the other states do.
Exactly.
I agree.
And I compare that to more lenient states. Like, I'll say it, and I don't have a problem with it. You're robbing people by doing that right there. And see, then the issue for me becomes when regular students sit up here and say, "Oh, well, you guys got it easy." I would quickly shoot to what you just said on top of what's required for my scholarship. I'm basically working a job, going to practice, preparing for games. And now, not only from my scholarship, because you're generating billions off of that, now you're taking off my likeness, off my own name for somebody else to go to school. Am I correct?
Yeah, which unfortunately has been happening from the beginning of this whole thing. Beginning of time. It happens, all that money they make on the gate in football. Yeah. It's now, this comment by Dr. Love is interesting, because I would say Locke and Bryce 100% agree with you. But here's my story, and I won't say that you're wrong, right? That the G League, that college will get more exposure than the G League. Here is my question. And I say this, okay, let's say On the Radar throws an event, and it's not live streamed at all, right? Okay. On the Radar has an event, there's no live streaming, right? And someone else has an event and there is live streaming, right? Okay. What we always say is exposure to who? Yeah. So, yes, college basketball can help you build you into a household name and give you exposure to people like me who buy product, who are consumers. But I would argue, and I did argue with Locke and Bryce, that if NBA GMs put more value in college basketball games and commercials and fame than they do in players who are on the floor playing against NBA guys, being coached by NBA coaches in an NBA format, then to me, then the NBA failed those kids. If I'm a GM and I'm watching a kid that went to high school go play in the G League against grown men in an NBA system, on an NBA floor, in an NBA offense against NBA defenses, NBA level coaching, and I say this kid is not as good as a kid that I'm watching in a college game against guys who are going to be working at Walmart next year, playing 2 halves instead of 4 quarters, playing against a team that ran a 2-2-1 press the whole game with a shot clock that is an eternity compared to the NBA. It's like watching 2 different basketball games. If I don't put a little more, and I'm talking about just GM specifically, to me then it points to a bigger problem. I'm not saying that that's not true. Dr. Love could be 100% right. I'm just saying that if he is right, then it points to a bigger problem when it comes to GMs and scouts and evaluators in the NBA.
Yeah.
How many guys do we watch killing in college and never really pan out in the league? It's 2 different games.
That's true. So why did Green complain about if he would have went to college, he would have been the #1 pick?
You may be right. Dr. Love, you may be 100% right, but the draft hasn't happened yet. So he's saying that based off of projections, and he doesn't know he's not the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
He doesn't know that he's not going to get drafted above Cade Cunningham. He doesn't know that. He thinks that. That may be the projection. But he doesn't know that. The draft hasn't happened yet. But if it does happen, to me, the NBA failed him. The system, the process failed him. That tells me that GMs are stupid. Right? It's been the hardest thing. It's what every NBA, and I wish Coach Barrett was here to help us out. It's what I've heard from NBA guys for a long time, that the college game, not everything that happens in the college game translates to the NBA. It's hard to evaluate sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
Now you got a kid how can you not evaluate this kid that's in the G League? He's playing against better guys every night.
Yeah. That's true. You know, we can go on and on about this. You know, I think there's still some things that need to be worked out. And not only that, I think the process is still incorrect as well. And that's on the NBA side and the college side, that some things need to be ironed out. But I know, like, these overtime leagues, these overseas leagues, they're putting heat on the NCAA. And at some point, the NCAA is going to have to buckle, or you're going to lose the vast majority of your well, not the vast majority, the quality of your product is going to continue to water down, because people are going to say, this is nowhere near. You're going to have post-grad that'll be almost as good as college if it keeps getting watered down. And that's no knock on post-grad. But what I'm saying is, you're going to see a lot of these kids, now they're going to start going to, let's talk about this straight, the new league that was formed, the new high school league with IMG, Mount Verde, Sunrise. Who else is in there? IMG, Mount Verde, Oak Hill.
It's just like AAU, man. It's too many teams. It's going to water down because it's too many teams.
Well, Dre, there was only, 8 so far?
I'm not talking about just that in and of itself, right? I'm talking about that plus overtime plus the G League.
Oh, well, yeah.
Like, once the NBA builds a real farm system, right? Like, that should be the system, right? Or it's gonna get watered down, man. It's gonna get watered down. I'm concerned that the NBA already isn't taking the best basketball players. There's a lot of politics involved with who gets pulled up and why and when and all that stuff. Like, there's a lot involved in that. I don't know that they're just watching games and taking the best guys, because I feel like it would be more guys in the G League that get called up.
Well, that's a tough one right there, Mr. Billingsley. That's a tough one. Now, okay, boy. I agree, but I disagree on your statement right there, because basically, so a lot of kids that are getting this next level training and some of this sports science stuff that's taking them to the next level, fusionetics and stuff like that, that costs a nice little penny. So I agree with you. Now, there are some kids where, again, when this is a business, where I could pick out an Ant-Man, when I could pick out a Scoot Henderson, when I could pick out a Colin, from a business perspective, I want to say, hey, come here for free, because if I build you into this super athlete, I can sell that by saying, hey, this guy's came and trained, and we put fusionetics in him, we put all type of sports science in him. You're going to have a whole flock of people running to you. So yes and no on that. So if it's not a Colin, Ant-Man, or Sharif or something like that, yeah, a lot of times if you want to get to that level, and if you don't know the proper channels or ways to get to it, a lot of times trainers or, people that are somewhat in the know will tax you big time to get that knowledge. And that's not even a guarantee it's the right knowledge. So I agree, but I also disagree because your super athletes are going to get that for free because the company is going to want to build their brand and their name off of that athlete because they're surefire picks anyways. What do you think, Dre?
I think every parent is just gonna have to make their own kind of decision based on what the long-term goal is gonna be.
But Dre, when you don't know, that's when you end up paying. So that goes back to what he just said. So if you don't know and you don't research and you don't know where to turn, what happens? You go to a trainer or you go to a quote unquote a handler, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to trust somebody with that decision.
Sure you do. And 9 times out of 10, that person you trust is getting something out of it, correct?
I mean, if they're really helping you, you would think so. It's hard for me to knock some of these trainers because a lot of times
I'm not knocking trainers. Let me be clear. That is not a knock on trainers.
Well, what I'm saying is I think we assume that they're getting something out of it a lot more often than they actually are getting something out of it.
Okay.
From the stories I've heard, a lot of times they're like AAU coaches, and they don't get what people think they may be getting out of it, right? Like Dr. Love just used the word handlers and hangers on and guardians and entourages. And my thing is, most of these kids don't have that.
Well,
right?
okay.
Like Nick trained Colin. Nick didn't get a bag off of Colin. Like Mark trained Swain trained Tariq Gilbert. Swain didn't get a, he was a McDonald's. Swain didn't get a bag off of that.
But Dre, I think you're missing my point. Yes, there are some good-hearted trainers. We know a good portion of them, yes, but there's also some snakes out here, right?
I mean, there's that in every bit. I just think that we assume that those guys are getting something out of it more than they are, right?
Let's take a step back. Let's take a step back. Okay, I think a lot of times we have to take trainers out of that and go to what Dr. Love said. The trainers, for the most part, we can sit here and name 10 off the top of our head. But now when you're talking handlers, Dre, we know them handlers is looking for a bag.
Again, I think that's the story that gets told. And I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, right? But I think we assume it more than it happens, is all I'm saying. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. But a lot of times the handler that's getting a bag is dad, mom.
Well,
right?
You're not a handler as a parent. That's a terrible term to call a parent a handler. That's your job to look out for your kid. And again, we can word this and describe it in 100 different ways. I would never associate or equate a parent with a handler. This is my kid, or I'm supposed to be looking out for his best interest.
Well, what I'm saying is a lot of time, it's the parents that are driving that financial conversation. Right? I don't know that in a lot of cases, it's always the handler driving that financial conversation. It's a lot of times, and I'm just going based off of conversations that I hear, right? I don't want to divulge, like this is what we're taught that happens, right? This is what we say happens. They're looking to leech on for the next one to leech on to, and it's that. But what we forget is how many. It's such a small percentage of kids that actually get a bag.
That's true. That is true.
We're talking about a percent of a percent of a percent of a percent. It's already a small percentage of kids that actually get to play college basketball. Right? Then you cut that percentage in half and say, or not even in half, but you cut that percentage and say the kids that get to go D1. Then we cut that percentage again and say the kids that are high major. Then you cut that percentage again and say the kids that have the potential to be a pro, that are McDonald's All-Americans, Jordan Brand All-Americans, those kids that have the potential to get a bag. That's a very small percentage of kids that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right? Like, to me, you know, and I don't know anybody's personal business. I hate even throwing people's names out here because I don't want people to think that I know something and I'm saying something. Yeah. But to me, Georgia only has 2 bag-worthy players in the entire state. Jabari and Scoot. Jabari and Scoot are the only 2 players that are getting a bag. So as a hanger-on, how would you be lurking in the gym to try to get, you know what I'm saying? You're looking for a needle in the haystack.
I don't want to touch that conversation because then we start naming kids and then people start thinking, I get what you're saying. I don't want to touch that one.
I don't know nothing. And I don't, you know, Scoop got his bag. He got his bag legit, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know nothing about nobody else. I'm just saying, like, we know the caliber of kid.
Well, sure.
If you ain't a McDonald's, you're probably not getting
a Colin. Yeah, those are next level kids.
If there are what, 24 McDonald's kids every year?
Yeah.
If you're not a McDonald's, you're not getting, like, are you really getting a bag if you're not a McDonald's All-American? I can't see it. I can't see it. So we talking about 24 kids across the whole country.
I'm gonna disagree with you. I disagree with that.
That you're getting a bag and you're not a McDonald's?
Yeah, I disagree with that. There are kids. Again, I don't want to touch that. Now, I disagree with that.
Some kids. I'm not saying those are only kids that get money, right? There are some kids that get some handshake money. There are some kids that get 10,000. You know, something like that. Yeah, 20,000. I'm talking about a bag. I'm talking about $100,000.
You're talking 100,000 too. I mean,
$300,000.
Even still, so
a house, a car, a this, a that. Like, there's only a hand. I don't even think every McDonald's All-American is gonna get that. Like, Kobe Simmons was a McDonald's All-American. No new car.
I mean, but okay, you're correct.
He went to Arizona, McDonald's All-American, and he didn't get his mama car until he got to the league. Like, we've been fortunate because we get to see these people all the time. Like, we get to see Damon and all these. We get to see these people all the time.
That's a tough one, right? And again, that's a tough one to answer, to say you're right, or I'm wrong, you're wrong, because there's a number of factors that play into that. And none of us on here are educated enough to say, oh, well, I know for a fact he got a watch, or I know for a fact he got a car, or I know for a fact he got 200, 300. We don't know.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that it doesn't happen, right? And when they say goal on potential, 10th grade, they think a kid could, they throwing them some money. Do I think kids get hundreds of dollars? Hundreds of dollars? Sure. I would think a lot of kids get hundreds of dollars. Free shoes, a lot of shoes, maybe thousands of dollars worth of tennis shoes, product.
Yeah.
Sure. A bunch of kids, I would assume, get that. Do I think there are a lot of kids that may get $5,000 or $10,000 before it's all said and done? Sure. right? Keep them happy. Give them a couple $100. Hey, man, I give you $500 to play with us this weekend. I give you $1,000 to come and play in this tournament with us, and we pay for all your food and all that stuff. Did I think that happened? Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
sure. But I just don't. I don't consider that a bag, right?
Well, no, that's not a bag. I mean, if you're getting them some tennis, and again, we want to be careful on this because we don't want anybody to assume anything. But yeah, a lot of that stuff goes on all the time. And yes, I will agree with you from that standpoint. I don't really want to say, well, yeah, and I agree with you, Mr. Maddox. 10,000 is a lot to urban kid parents. So yes, that is true. That's absolutely true. If you taking 10,000 to the kid in the hood, he gonna rock with you.
And I'm gonna tell you where I'm getting my information from, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want people to think I'm just making this up out of my head, right? When the whole Adidas scandal case went down, and they have records of who got paid what and how much they got over the period of time that they got it. So there were players that were highly ranked, highly sought after players. We're talking about all high major kids that got $10,000 over the course of 3 years. That's not a lot of money.
That's still nothing to sneeze at for a 17 or 18-year-old either.
No, it's not. But I mean, but it's easy to hide $10,000 over 3 years, D.
Sure. Yes, I agree with that. Yes.
Over 3. I mean, we raise kids. We spend way more than that on our kids over 3. Like,
let's go on to the next topic, man.
Yeah, man. That's not a lot of. It's not. When the records came out, it wasn't nearly as much money as people say. Now, if we want to talk about football, want to talk about where the bag is getting handed out to players that aren't even necessarily the elite of the elite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right.
It's probably kickers that's getting 10 grand at football.
But think about it. Football has how many on the team? About 72 to 80 at least. And of course, everybody's not getting a piece of change, but let's just say you got 11 to start on both ends of the ball. You got special teams. Let's just say out of them 22 or 25 kids.
You got all the highly touted freshmen that ain't even playing yet.
Yeah. Man.
Everybody at Alabama getting paid, dog.
No. Come on. Don't you start, because I'll be everybody from Louisville getting paid.
Come on, bro. 5-star, you go to Alabama and just go play special teams as a freshman. You don't even get on the field for your position, bro. Come on, man.
They don't do the same thing at Louisville?
Mama got a job. We ain't gonna talk about what they do at Louisville. That's different.
Oh, I know. It's completely different. Everything's extracurricular at Louisville. And speaking of that, bro, you got writers on Louisville's head now. Just a side note on that, bro. Bro, you got writers that are advocating to throw Louisville to death sentence. I was like, that'll never happen. That won't happen. Because they mean too much to the NCAA, bro. They'll get slapped, sure, but they're not going to shut Louisville down.
If anybody catches it, it'll be us. But we did it to ourselves.
A death sentence, Dre? No, I don't see it.
To me, we did it to ourselves.
A severe penalty? Yes, I can see that.
We're the only school that's self-reported and self-banned ourselves. And we're the only school that did that. Everybody else thumbed their nose at the NCAA.
Hey, Dr. Love, you can say that again right there. Drake know what it is.
Yeah, everybody else kept it moving. UNC had fake classes. They thumbed their nose at the NCAA. After what happened in Arizona and what happened at LSU, they got them guys caught on tape. Nothing.
That's true.
Nothing.
Yeah. I mean, to be on tape just makes it even worse. I mean, and it's hypocritical if you want to be honest. You right about that, Dr. Love. You so right about that. They was making it rain in Louisville, boy. Dre don't never want to talk about that, though. You see how quiet it is now? He don't ever want to talk about that.
They found $10,000 over 4 years.
Man, that was $10,000 in one night. Stop playing.
They found $10,000 documented. $10,000 over 4 years is what they found.
That's why Diamond and Lexus is writing books.
And them had to be the ugliest strippers in America to have that many stripper parties, and it was only $10,000 over 4 years. But I mean, hey.
But Dre, in the dorm room, guy? Really? Really?
Are we gonna talk about what happens in dorm rooms? Is that what we're gonna do now?
No. I'm just saying.
Okay. I was just checking. I'm still hoarse from coaching, but I got a little fight left in me.
I'm not gonna fight with you guys. I'm just saying. I mean, are we that comfortable to where the coaches just throw out money? Hey, y'all go ahead and have a good time. What is it? It's only 10 G's, Dre. Go have a good time. We can hide that.
Over 4 years, 500 at a time. You had 20 parties over 4 years, so you had 5 parties a year with $500 split between 10 dudes.
This is the problem with Louisville athletics right here.
They had a sausage fest every party. It was trash.
Hoops Hidden Gems, our audience, this is the problem with athletics right here. When we have denial by one of our own, we have denial. And they just take it down. Well, Kentucky does worse.
Nah. It was stupid to do that on campus. That's dumb.
Oh, hey, but you know what? I'm always give you props because Louisville and Kentucky are some diehard fans. Hey, bro, let me just say this on air. I'm with you on UK now. Now that I've been up there, shout out to Lexington, had a great time. But I'm just going to say this without saying it subliminally. I understand what you're talking about now, Dre. You remember how you used to talk to me before and I had no idea what you were talking about?
It's a different kind of rivalry, dog. Most people don't understand.
But yo, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. It's 9:15. I want to thank everybody for coming on the show. Definitely congratulations to Deshawn Daniels going to Shaw University over there with Coach Bazemore. Coach Bazemore, again, congratulations. You all got a hooper and a athlete, real talk. So, go ahead and everybody enjoy the show and enjoy the rest of your Monday night. We'll be back on next week. We got some good people coming on next week. I am going to get to the point where I start talking about JUCO D2s and JUCO D3s because this is about all levels and this is about the right fit as well. And JUCO Independence, we're going to get y'all too as well. But we're going to close this out for tonight. Everybody have a good night and thank you for signing off.